here in Beijing, in the midst of all of you, we feel that the sun shall rise. And so we join all of you, and we continue to hope that we shall share the solidarity that we have seen here this evening.
Do you guys know songs from the 90s?
Yeah.
Let's see. Name of the song, name of the artist.
TLC.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, let's look for another hit that was in 1995.
Wait, but why does it sound so familiar though?
Because every song in the 90s had the same groove.
The New Jack Swing. That was Monica, Don't Take It Personal. I like Monica's storytelling. When I think about it now, she was all about like, hey, talk to me. Let's figure out why we're having issues. I'll try and do one or two more.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
You Are Not Alone. So all those were top
You
songs.
Are Not Alone.
I know, in 1995. When people were in Beijing, these were the songs that were on the charts.
Wow.
So I thought I'd fuse pop culture with.
Yeah.
So do you want to try just explain from your perspective
Okay.
what the conference was about and what significance it had?
So we were laughing about it because my degree is in international studies and I'm in fourth year. It was a global gathering to talk about women. So the same way we have, like right now we have the COP conferences to talk about climate, right? I don't know if it was the first, but it was the first major one. And I think they came out of it with a declaration or something. I don't remember the exact name of it, but they came up with 12 areas in which they can better improve women's equality. So like in health, in economy, in a bunch of other stuff. And major world leaders were there just trying to bridge the gap. So I guess Janet is asking, where are we 30 years from now?
Yeah, where are we? I want to know from you where you think we should be. Then we'll bring in Tanya. Should just be like, okay, it's been 30 years, but what are the issues that you wish had been addressed by now? But we can come back to you and be like, yeah, 30 years. Do you feel like it's a significant milestone? And if so, what part of it makes it so important?
I think it's cosmetic, but I think a lot of the things the United Nations does is cosmetic. And that's funny because going into this degree, I thought, okay, maybe they'll employ me one day. But yes, very cosmetic. We are still so far behind, and it feels like we are moving farther behind. Actually, that's the worst part. Like we keep making progress, but we are still moving farther behind. If you think about it today in the Middle East, there are women who are still not allowed to go to school. There are women who are still not allowed to show their faces. There are women who still get, beaten in public. Like that's really scary. And bringing it even into a local context, look at our issue with femicide and how there's just like no response from the government or the people in charge and the police to the gender-based violence that women are facing in Kenya every day. So yeah, I don't know how things were immediately after that conference, but now I don't think we're
I don't
going
think.
in that
Very interesting. You said you think it's cosmetic. You're not the only one who thinks that. Just from your perspective, your sort of like knowledge around the conference, and again, 30 years in, what do you think by now surely we should have addressed?
Yeah, so to me, it's so surprising. It's like a celebration of like, becoming 30 years or something like that. Because you expect if you're celebrating something for turning 30, it has an impact, right? So for me, the same thing you're saying, there is no major impact, especially as an African woman in this country specifically, there is no major impact that I feel like is worth celebrating because there are so many, the negatives are so many compared to the pros, right? Yeah. So the cons are, people are still going through FGM, people are still being forced into marriage, people are still getting, raped, there are so many things that women are going through that I don't think has been addressed, and I don't think is worth saying, oh wow, 30 years now, we should be like 20 steps ahead.
I agree with you. And also, I think any progress that we have made is not as a result of Beijing, I think it's a result of women everywhere doing the thing, So I wouldn't accredit the progress to to that per se. I would accredit the progress to people like Janet here, who has taken the media space and used it to champion for women, and people like those of us who showed up for the femicide march and shouted our voices out, and you know, just everyday women that are just, you know, taking it upon ourselves to create a more equitable world.
I love that. Thank you for that. And I look at women like you because I'm a very observant person, right? So I was in my 20s, and yes, I was in media, but I feel like you all have reclaimed what it means to be intentional about impact and taking away the aesthetics from it.
Yeah. We are the generation that is going to change like the world forever. I feel like, no shade to the millennials, but you know,
there's some behind the scenes like, even us, we're here. No shade,
but I feel like with us, there's this level of, we are so not complacent, we are so not taking things that we don't agree with, we are so ready and willing to speak up. I mean, even in my internship space and all that, hearing, hey, working with these Gen Zs, like, yeah, we do things on our own terms because we know the difference between right and wrong. We refuse to be taken advantage of. And it's like Gen Z women in particular, I don't know. Like, it's just, vocal.
You're a force.
We are a force, and we are vocal, and we are purposeful, especially when we are using our platform for something. So, yeah, if I say something online today and it reaches hundreds of thousands of people, great. But it's because I've said something that I believe in. It's not because I said it to reach hundreds of thousands of people, you know? Yeah.
Okay. I remember when June 25th happened, in this space, I think you have to remain teachable. I sat down and asked myself, because I was like, you know yourself, you know you're going to go on the streets. You know it. I was in Mombasa at a conference, and my friends were like, hey, when are you coming? This was a few days before. But it had already started. The agitation had started. But I remember having a meeting with myself and saying, you know the privileges you have, you know the access you have, what are you willing to compromise? And that wasn't easy, maybe because it's privilege and access. Then I say to myself, okay, number one, a system that benefits a select few is already a broken system.
Yes.
Do you want to support a broken system? Number two, you might lose work. Are you okay with that? And I don't say that lightly because I think millennials or people who've been in a state of complacency, you think about that, you're like, what about that access and privilege? But I think I forever confronted myself. So I thought, okay, these rooms you get invited to, can you take this same audacity to Iceland? Can you take the same audacity to London? And I think that's what changed in me. So it's fine. It's okay to be embraced as somebody who is a public figure that speaks on issues. Those rooms can give you a high because it's power, it's glitz, it's all these things. And I think I had to do a self-audit. I'm still self-auditing, but I think that's what we learned from you guys. Is you guys were just like us, we've gone. I was saying, you know you're going to go, so make peace with what you will lose. Because you will lose something, but it's a worthwhile loss. How do you feel about intergenerational collaboration? Do you sometimes feel millennials, Gen X and all, like, you guys, man?
First thing I wanted to say, and something that I've realized, and I'm glad I've realized now, is that if your advocacy, if your activism isn't costing you something, then you're not doing it right, okay? And I respect millennials and older generations for wanting to also secure your own future, because you have to think about what you're going to eat, where you're going to sleep, what you're going to earn. And it's not bad to be career-oriented, but also with great power comes great responsibility. So when faced with that choice, is it the greater good or my good, right? But at the same time, the movement needs you to be at your best. You know, you can't be fighting for economic empowerment for young people and you're not economically empowered, or you're denying yourself ethical opportunities to do so. And on intergenerational dialogue, we all need each other, and I'm so big on solidarity. Like, there's so much. First of all, you guys have experience. That's something that we don't have. Years give you wisdom, years give you things that, you know, we don't have. So if we can learn to work together, even with the Gen X's, my mom is a Gen X, you know, if my mom can tell me, I am terrified of you going out there, but I'm not gonna hold you back. You see, that sense of acceptance, that sense of, hey, you know what, maybe next time I'll even join you. That is so beautiful to me. We saw how the moms came to mourn the abducted people that protest was in December, around New Year's time. and they even said Gen Z stay at home. This is strictly mandamano for wamamas, you know. So I think we do need to work together, bridge the generational gap, and I do believe in the digital space as a way to do that. Because everybody and their mama and their shosho are watching TikTok, you know.
On YouTube.
On YouTube,
Yeah, you know. So I think that's the way we can do it, and I completely agree with you.
No, I love that, the solidarity. What about you, Tanya?
Exactly what you're saying. For me, I think I also love the collaboration. To me, I don't think it's a bad thing at all because we have audacity. We are bold, we want to do it now. But the millennials, for example, they have experience. They've seen things from, you know, a different perspective. So they have perspective. So them sitting down with Gen Zs is a really good, it's a good middle part because now we are getting the best of both worlds, right? And to me, that is more powerful than just one generation sticking with it and be like, this is a Gen Z thing, we're gonna do it alone. No, it's better when a Gen Z, a millennial, or Gen X are in the same boat, and if they have the same perspective, they're fighting towards the same good. Because now we don't want to you know, it's like a rubbing shoulders kind of thing. We want to fight for the same cause. And if a 30-year-old is doing it, a 19-year-old is doing it, a 45-year-old is doing it, there's no harm in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
We're
think
all
about
doing
it
it.
like playing a relay, right? You run, then
Yeah,
you give this guy
give
the baton, and
that's
then you
a really
run,
good
and then
analogy.
you give this. So that's how it is, you know. And you doesn't mean you slow down because you'll still make us lose the race, right?
Yeah.
So it's about teamwork, pushing each other, mentoring each other, and just standing behind one another.
I love how you're saying it doesn't mean you can't win the race. It just means we're now giving you the lead.
Yes.
To say, okay, thank you.
Exactly.
You pass the baton, Sawa. Let us finish the race.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Tanya
you.
and Tatiana. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll be back on It's Official with Janet Mbugua.
It's official.
It's official.